Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm finally reviewing Halloween Kills. The movie only came out 2 days ago. I've seen it once in theater and once at home, and I feel like now because I've seen it twice and had time to just think about it a little more, that I now have like a good grasp on my opinion and thoughts about the movie. So before I get into the actual review or my likes and dislikes of the film, I just want to say this will contain spoilers. I will be spoiling a lot of parts of the movie. I'm not going to go into every single detail in the movie, but I will be talking about the major plot points and stuff like that. So if you've yet to see the movie, go check it out. I recommend seeing it. If you're a horror fan, you got to check it out just to make your own opinion about it. I know the movie's divisive, but I think people should really form their own opinion before they just jump the gun and say it's terrible or it's like the best movie ever made. So go see the movie, form your own opinion, and let me know what you think in the comments below. So yeah, spoiler warning, but you know, if you haven't seen it, go see it. So let's get right into this review here. So first, my likes. One of my first likes is the color scheme of the movie. It has like this bluish kind of hue that the original movie had, and I really like that because it just makes it feel like a Halloween movie, and the atmosphere of it is really much so like the original in a sense. It just has the same type of blue like color grading or whatever that the original movie had, whereas Halloween 2018 had like this more like warm kind of lighting, and that was fine for that movie, but I prefer the blue one because it just makes it feel more like a Halloween movie. Not like the biggest thing in the world, but if you're a Halloween fan, you're gonna pick up on stuff like that, and it just makes the movie even better. Another thing that I absolutely loved about the film was the flashback from 1978. That was awesome. It showed, first off, the mask that Michael was wearing is like basically the most perfect mask as a interpretation of the original one from the original film. Like, that mask is awesome. Really love the way they did that. And what I was worried about with these flashbacks was that they were going to change the original film in some way, and they kind of do, but they don't do it in a way that I feel like is disrespectful to the original movie, if you know what I mean by that. Like, they do change, like, basically what happens with Michael after the movie, but they don't change anything about the movie itself. Like, Michael, you know, has Hawkins' partner, like, in a chokehold or whatever, and he's about to kill him, and then Hawkins is there, and he aims the gun at him, and accidentally shoots his partner, which I thought was pretty interesting. It gave Hawkins a little bit more character depth, and we kind of understand why he has such a hatred for Michael now. And obviously, it showed my boy, my favorite character in the Halloween franchise, besides Michael himself, Dr. Loomis. So obviously, Donald Pleasence has been dead since like the 90s now. Rest in peace, Donald Pleasence, amazing actor. So they had to get like a stand-in for him. And the guy isn't in the movie for long, but I think the actor looks a lot like Donald Pleasence, and he sounds enough like him that it was awesome. And it is like a big thing. Like, if you're a Halloween fan, you're gonna be happy with it. I think Halloween fans will be happy with it just because like Donald Pleasence was such a great actor in the franchise, and Dr. Loomis is like one of everybody's favorite characters in the franchise. So it's kind of like, just to have Dr. Loomis there, even though it is just basically like a cameo, it was still really nice, and how they did it was nice too. Like, essentially, Michael gets captured by the police. They're all surrounded him, which is exactly like the cold open in the original Halloween. And then it shows that Loomis was actually going to put a bullet in Michael's brain and kill him, but then Hawkins stops him. Now, I really love the fact that Loomis was going to kill him, because that's exactly something Loomis would do. Loomis understood how evil Michael was and that he needed to be put down. That was awesome, and I think that was just a really in-character moment for him. So they did very well with that, and accurately portraying Donald Pleasence's character, Dr. Loomis, in the film, even though it's not actually Donald Pleasence. The kills in the film were very violent. They were pretty good. There's nothing, like, insane in the movie. Like, if you're a slasher fan and you've seen, like, any of the Friday the 13th movies, then you've seen stuff worse than this, basically. But for a Halloween film, it is pretty hardcore. And I'm not saying a lot of the Halloween films aren't hardcore. A lot of them are. But, like, in terms of some of the kills in this movie, Michael is just an absolute beast in this film, which I really love that aspect of the movie. And it just showed how hardcore and evil Michael is. Like, for example, one thing they show in this movie is how Michael seemingly enjoys tormenting people, which is pretty obvious, but they show it in such a way in this that I think was really good. Like, for example, Michael kills Cameron in front of Allison, and it was like, she could have just left him there, but he totally just killed him right in front of her just to be like, he just wanted to see her reaction out of it, which I thought was really cool. And I like the fact that Michael kind of plays with his victims in this. Like, Michael doesn't just kill people, he torments them and messes with them, which I really thought, like I said, he kind of did it in the original film too, when he like sets the bodies up in a certain way to scare Laurie. There's a lot of Halloween Easter eggs in the film as well, like the Halloween 3 mask. There's actually a clip from Halloween 2 in the film, which doesn't make Halloween 2 completely canon, but it does make it semi-canon with, like, it shows how Sheriff Brackett saw Andy's dead body, which is, like I said, it's a scene from Halloween 2. Which, yet again, like I said, it just shows how much these people really care about the Halloween franchise, and they're putting a lot of effort into it, and they've seen all the movies, so I like that they're showing Easter eggs. They did Easter eggs in 2018 one as well, so it's not really like the biggest thing ever, but it is still nice. So in the film, we learned that Officer Hawkins survived, which for me is great because Hawkins I thought was an awesome part of the first one, and I just didn't like the fact that they kind of cut him out of the movie so quickly. I think maybe they originally intended on having him be dead, but like all the fans were like, he was such an awesome character, so they decided to bring him back, which I thought was a really good idea. And obviously the actor that plays him did a good job as well. Basically every actor in the movie did well, especially like Jamie Lee Curtis and Anthony Michael Hall, who played Tommy, and then the guy who played Lonnie. It was really good. I was surprised by how much I liked Lonnie in the movie, because Lonnie's just a little shithead in the first one. But then in this, I was like, Lonnie's pretty cool. And Judy Greer and Andy Matichak, I think that's how you pronounce her name, both do great as Karen and Allison, of course. They both got their time to shine in this movie. So, I obviously, you know, they were great in the other one, but I just liked seeing more of the family dynamic between them in this one as well. And another thing that this movie did was it gave, like, certain characters that weren't really main parts of the movie actually, like, time to shine. Like, for example, there's this gay couple in the movie, which one of them is actually played by Michael McDonald from Mad TV, if you guys have ever seen that show. And their names are Big John and Little John, and I just feel like, even though they weren't in the movie for long, they were pretty memorable, even though they only got maybe like 10-15 minutes in the movie before they were killed. Which I thought was just really nice, because it was just showing, like, these are just normal people, like, whereas in most slasher movies, the characters are just kind of one-dimensional and they just do nothing. I like the fact that this movie actually showed characters who didn't really get that much screen time. They actually showed, like, their personalities before they, you know, bit the bullet. And because we care about some of these characters, even though they're kind of like nothing characters, we see the effect that death has on the other characters in the movie. And it was surprisingly emotional. Like, there were a couple scenes that actually kind of hit in the feels, and you're like, wow, like, they actually went there with, like, you know, quote-unquote slasher movie. Which most, you know, casual fans wouldn't expect that type of thing out of a horror/slasher movie. And I think they did a very good job with that. And that way you care more about the characters. So it's not like when you see Michael kill someone, I mean, for me, I'm like, hell yeah. But, like, for people who aren't really horror fans, they actually start to develop, like, they start to care about these characters. And then when they get killed, you feel bad. You want Michael to lose. And that's what makes it good, because you actually care about the main characters instead of them just being all, like, fodder. Of course, the soundtrack by John Carpenter, his sons were also great. I mean, of course, John Carpenter is, like, a legendary musician as well as director, so it's like, of course he did a good job. Not really anything surprising there. It was also interesting how they mentioned that it's not about Laurie. Like, a lot of the people would think, oh, Michael's gonna come head to head with Laurie, like, Michael's gotta kill Laurie, like, but Michael doesn't care. Like, his motive is unknown. He's just killing people. So it's not like he broke out of Smith's Grove Sanitarium to kill her in 2018. Obviously, they show Dr. Sartain was the one who brought them together. So Michael, it's not like he broke out and was thinking about her or anything like that. Maybe he recognized her. I think he does recognize her, but, you know, Michael doesn't have a particular, like, vendetta against her. He's just killing people. Which is good, because it brings him back to the motiveless killer that he once was in the original film before they made it that they were brother and sister in the sequel. The Myers house in this movie was also very accurate. Every movie, like, after Halloween 1 and 2, the Myers house always looked so different, and, like, there was, like, Halloween 5, it looked like a castle. Like, it had this really, like, gothic feel to it, and it just wasn't anything like the Myers house, because the Myers house in the original film was just a normal house. And they did really good, they did a really good job, like, just recreating the house, because I don't think it was the same house, I'm not sure, but they just did a good job recreating it, and I think it was, you know, it's very well done. Another thing that I really loved about the movie is the fact that Michael essentially wins in the film. He kills 4 of the main characters, Brackett, Tommy, Marion, and Karen. And although I care about those characters, if Michael didn't end up killing any of the main characters in this movie, the movie wouldn't have stakes. And I like the fact that the movie has balls to just be like, alright, we're just gonna kill these main characters, even though we care about them, because it's like, if Michael was only killing just like random characters, then all the main, characters in the movie survived, it just wouldn't feel like the movie has stakes. And it honestly makes this movie into, in my opinion, the most bleak Halloween film in the entire franchise, because Michael wins in this movie. Michael doesn't get caught. Michael doesn't get quote-unquote killed. He kills Karen and all those people that he killed that same Halloween night, and then gets away with it. Which I think is awesome, because I don't think there's ever been a Halloween movie where Michael just totally gets away with it without, getting quote-unquote killed or arrested. So yeah, those are the things that I liked about the movie. I have two things here that I was mixed about, which we can get into. So as I mentioned earlier, Hawkins lets Michael live. He basically stops Dr. Loomis from killing him. Now, I like the fact that Dr. Loomis is about to kill Michael. That, like I said, it's a totally in-character moment for him to want to kill Michael. It's like his whole thing. He was like obsessed with him. However, I think Hawkins sparing Michael seemed a little out of character. Like, I understand he said, like, that's still somebody's baby boy deep down or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like Hawkins wouldn't have done that. Because he literally just accidentally killed his partner to try and kill Michael, and then he stops Loomis from killing him. I understand where they were going with the character of Hawkins, to show that, to make it seem like later in the movie Hawkins is like, it was my fault basically that he came back, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like that was kind of and I feel like they could have maybe done it in a different way instead of making it Hawkins that was the one that spared him. I don't know. Like I said, I won't mix on that one. And the next one, this one, there's elements of it that I like, and there's elements that I dislike, which is in my dislike section. So it's the whole mob rule thing. Like, the whole idea of a mob, an angry mob going after Michael, makes sense. They've done it in the past, and I don't think they've ever done it, like, perfectly. Because, obviously, Halloween 4 just had, like, a bunch of rednecks going around trying to kill Michael and stuff like that. But I think the idea of it and the social aspects of it do make sense, and they can work, but I just feel the way that they did it in the movie was not as good as it could have been. There were elements of it that I liked, and then there were things. So with that being said about the angry mob, let's just get right into dislikes, because that will tie right into one of the dislikes that I have. So there's only a couple dislikes, but to tie it in with the whole mob mentality thing, essentially there's another mental patient that escaped from Smith's Grove, and people in town think that he's Michael Myers. I don't know how they think he's Michael Myers, because Michael Myers, like, they show Michael Myers' face on the TV. So that was weird that they just kind of completely ignored that, first off. And second, this mental patient is literally like 5'2", like chubby and balding. Like, I don't know how, I mean, yes, Michael's balding too, to be fair, but like, the complete body difference between these two is so obvious. I don't understand how these people thought this was Michael Myers. But that's not really that big a deal to me, because I can give that a pass, because it has been 40 years since the original, so a lot of people in town don't really know about Michael Myers other than just things that they've heard from people. So essentially, a bunch of the people in Haddonfield are at the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. And then you see this other mental patient saying, "Help me," behind the glass. So obviously he needed some medical attention or whatever, right? But the people in town think that he's Michael Myers, as I said. And then they all chase after him. Some of them, like Karen and Lori, are like, "That's not him, that's not him, that's not him." But it doesn't matter. And it eventually basically drives the guy to jump off the building and commit suicide. So the idea of that isn't too bad. It just seems kind of out of place. And my biggest problem with it is the fact that it has no consequence. He just kills himself, and then everybody goes without their, like, there's like a 2-minute scene of like everybody reacting to it, and then they just go on with their business about hunting Michael. It's like, maybe they should learn that, they should have learned that maybe the police should be the ones to handle this, and not just people in town creating a mob. Like, literally, as the guy dies, Tommy just says, "I fucked up, but I can't give up." And I get that. That's not a problem. But it's like, what was the point of it? It had like almost no consequence on the rest of the movie. It just really didn't, and it really kind of just felt like filler and like trying to pad the movie out. or it was just like they're trying so hard to have this really meaningful thing in the movie. And it's like the emotions of the characters going through what's going on with Michael Myers is enough for me, and I thought that was really well done. But I just felt like this whole mob rule thing was kind of pretentious, and it didn't really go anywhere, so I was just like, that was kind of stupid. It's not like terrible for me, like I still enjoy parts of that aspect of the mob rule thing, but I wasn't really too big on that, and like I said, it just had no consequence, and then every other character just went about their business like nothing happened. Another dislike I have is that Laurie is out of commission for most of the movie. She's in like maybe half the movie, but she's not. I kind of get that because you want to give the other characters some time to shine to get us to develop them a little bit, but we still want to see Laurie. She's in the film, but she's basically just bedridden for most of the movie. She obviously got injured with, fighting Michael in the last film. So it does make sense, but it just kind of reminded me of Halloween 2 from 1981, and I do love Halloween 2, don't get me wrong. That's actually one of my favorites in the whole series. But I felt like they were just kind of retreading that, and it's kind of a shame because it's like, this will be, Halloween Kills is the second to last time that Jamie Lee Curtis will probably ever play Laurie Strode. So it's like, you wish that she had more. When she was in the movie and doing stuff and talking, she was great. I loved her. Jamie Lee Curtis is awesome. She's always good. Another problem that I had was that there was some comedy in serious moments. Like, they did it kind of in Halloween 2018 with Julian, and he was like, we gotta get out of here or whatever, and it was kind of funny, but it's like, when you are having a serious moment, and the Marvel movies struggle with this so hard, the Marvel movies do this all the time, it's like, when you have a serious moment, you shouldn't have the characters be joking unless it's like a comedy or like a horror comedy if you want it to be like that. But there are a couple moments, and it's nothing too bad. It was just a couple little things that I picked up on, like, for example, there's this black woman and her husband. They're in the house, and then the husband goes into the bathroom, and then he sees Michael, shuts the door, and he's like, there's a guy in our bathroom with a monster mask. And she's like, what does he want? And he's like, who gives a shit or whatever. And it was like, that didn't feel like real dialogue to me. I felt like the guy would have just jumped back and been like, there's someone in the fucking bathroom or something like that. Like, that would have been way more, like, natural to me. I just felt like that was kind of like almost like a joke. And there was another thing with, like, Big John and Little John when he was like, I got this knife, and then the other guy was like, I got this knife, and it was funny because it was like Big John and Little John, even though Big John had the small knife and Little John had the big knife. It's funny, but it's like, it's out of place. And my last dislike is that some of the characters are kind of underutilized. Like I said, mostly the characters were done very well. However, Lindsay, Marion, and Sheriff Brackett are all kind of underutilized. They don't really get to do that much in the movie. Like, I understand, of course, I'm not sure the actor's name, I'm forgetting it right now, which makes me feel ashamed. But the actor for, what is his name? I can't remember. But the actor for Sheriff Brackett, I understand that he's older. So, he probably can't be doing too much, like, action moments or whatever. Like, I get that. And same with the actress for Marion. But it's like, it seemed like those characters were kind of just thrown there to be like, kind of like nostalgia, not nostalgia bait, but it's just like, oh look, there's a character from the original movie. It's like, and they don't really get to do that much. They get a couple scenes, a couple good moments. I like how Marion, before she got killed by Michael, was like, this is for Dr. Loomis. I like that. It showed more respect for Loomis and how, they were together in one scene in that movie. And I just thought it was like, the characters just didn't get that much time to shine, and it's kind of a shame because they are OG characters from the original film, but I get the movie it's not even 2 hours, so I get it, they kind of have to push things going a little bit. It was just a shame. At least Lindsay survived, so we can have more of her in Halloween Ends, and we can, hopefully she survives, because I like Lindsay, but like, you can have more of that in the sequel to this movie. So yeah, that's really all I gotta say about Halloween Kills in terms of my likes and dislikes. Now, overall thoughts, I thought the movie was really good. I would probably give it like an 8 out of 10, or something like that. Maybe not, just over time, of course, my opinions are probably gonna change, but after seeing it twice, I think a 7.5 or 8 out of 10, we'll just go with an 8, because I did like the movie a lot, and I enjoyed it, especially on my second viewing of the movie. the movie overall was really good. You know, it had some problems, but I really enjoyed myself. I thought it was a good time, and I do think it's arguably like just as good as 2018 Halloween or better. So I really liked it. I know it's very divisive, and I guess I can kind of understand why a lot of it has to do with the subplot with the mob rule stuff, but I don't think that stuff was enough for me to hate the movie. I think it's far from the worst Halloween movie. I mean, the Halloween franchise has some piece of shit movies like Resurrection or the remake or Halloween 6 and 5 and whatever, but it's like, you know, I think the movie was pretty good, and I enjoyed myself, and it's just making me impatient for the next Halloween movie, Halloween Ends. So, yeah, that's all I got to say on this one. Highly recommend seeing the movie. Obviously, if you're watching this, you've probably seen it because it's spoiler review. But let me know what you guys thought of the movie if you've seen it in the comments below. And that's all I got to say on this one, folks. Y'all stay safe and stay groovy. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm finally reviewing Halloween Kills. The movie only came out 2 days ago. I've seen it once in theater and once at home, and I feel like now, because I've seen it twice and had time to just think about it a little more, that I now have like a good grasp on my opinion and thoughts about the movie. So before I get into the actual review or my likes and dislikes of the film, I just want to say this will contain spoilers. I will be spoiling a lot of parts of the movie. I'm not going to go into every single detail in the movie, but I will be talking about the major plot points and stuff like that.